Their testimony is Bob Mueller did not kick you off because of the content of your text. He kicked you off because of some appearance that he was worried about.
Sure. My testimony, what you asked and what I responded to, was that he kicked me off because of my bias. I'm stating to you it is not my understanding that he kicked me off because of any bias, that it was done based on the appearance. If you want to represent what you said accurately, I'm happy to answer that question, but I don't appreciate what was originally said being changed.
I don't give a damn what you appreciate, Agent Strzok. I don't appreciate having an FBI agent with an unprecedented level of animus working on 2 major investigations during 2016. In addition to disappointing the hell out of my Democrat colleagues, that someone who was investigating Russian collusion didn't think there was any there, why would you be concerned? Why would you not be ecstatic that there was no collusion? Why the word concern?
Sir, I don't know what I meant.
All right, that was more of the fireworks at today's explosive hearings, House hearings, with the disgraced FBI agent Peter Strzok. Joining us now, the man you just saw, House Government and Oversight and Government Reform Committee Chairman, South Carolina Congressman Trey Gowdy. Congressman, good to see you. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
At the heart of this, I think you captured it there, Congressman, and that is a bias, and this man was in the forefront of everything. Do you believe, as I do, that Hillary Clinton had a rigged investigation, that she violated the Espionage Act? It was a big case of obstruction with the emails, deletions, and bleach pit. And do you believe, as I believe, that, in fact, he went after Trump with a vengeance because of a political view that he expressed often?
Well, let's take Trump first. Before he ever began investigating alleged collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, he'd already made up his mind that President Trump would be destabilizing for the country. I mean, think about how serious that word is, Sean. Destabilizing for our country, and he hadn't even begun to interview the first person in August. He said, we'll stop it. We need an insurance policy. And then he began talking about impeachment one day after Bob Mueller's investigation began. So Peter Strzok has a level of bias that would make it impossible for any prosecutor to stand in front of a jury and use him as a witness. On the other hand, while he's convicting Donald Trump before the investigation begins, he's exonerating Hillary Clinton. $100 million to 0 is what the vote ought to be, and he hadn't interviewed her, and he hadn't interviewed 30 other witnesses.
Congressman, did you believe his explanation as it relates to his text messages? I did not believe it. I do not believe the American people believe what they saw today.
No, the only people who believe his explanation are the 30-some-odd Democrats. Keep in mind, Sean, 60 Democrats have already voted to move forward with impeachment on President Trump, and Bob Mueller hadn't released his first single solitary finding. So they've already made up their minds. Of course, they'd be sympathetic to an FBI agent who's already made up his mind. He's the only person in America who doesn't think he was biased. He's the only person in America that does not understand how incredibly detrimental those texts are to any kind of serious investigation. So, look, I spent 10 hours with him 2 weeks ago, about an equal amount of time today. He just doesn't, he thinks what his personal opinion is what the rest of us call bias.
Well, yeah, I guess that's where the smelly people will go to Walmart. And as I mentioned in my monologue tonight, I happen to be one of those people. I like Walmart, and I like Kmart, and I like Costco's, and I like Target. And you can get everything you want there, and you get a pretty good deal at every one of those places. But the more important question, if I remember correctly, you were a prosecutor and you never lost a case. Am I correct in that, sir?
I was definitely a prosecutor, yes, sir. I had some good cases.
And you never lost a case?
I had some very courageous victims and some good cops.
So what I want to ask, and this is really important, what I am worried about more than anything else here, if Hillary Clinton is allowed to take things that are subpoenaed and delete them, use bleach pit on the hard drives, have AIDS breakup devices and hammers, and remove SIM cards, and move the Espionage Act, you cannot mishandle or destroy classified or top secret information. Both those things happen. He wrote an exoneration with, of course, the FBI Director Comey in early May. They didn't interview her till July 2nd. She was exonerated on July 5th. That to me, you've been involved in these things. Do we have equal justice under the law? Do we have equal application of our laws?
No, and that's what frustrates people. That's what frustrates your viewers who wonder, well, would that happen to me too? Would the director of the FBI announce my innocence before 20-some-odd interviews have been done, including my own? And keep this in mind too, Sean, they were really clear when they went into her interview. She's not going to be charged with anything unless she lies. So the mishandling of classified information, she was never in jeopardy from that, even before they interviewed her. So, look, I think everybody would like that deal, that the FBI is going to come talk to me, and the only thing I got to do is tell the truth. Yes, I robbed the bank. Yes, I kidnapped this person. Yes, I committed bank fraud. All you got to do is tell the truth, and you're going to get out of jail free. Converse that with the fact that Donald Trump, not a single solitary witness had been interviewed before Peter Strzok is promising to stop him from ever becoming president. That is a dichotomy that erodes public trust in our justice system and in our law enforcement.
I'm going to have Jim Jordan on the program after, who also had a chance to question Peter Strzok today. When you add the FISA abuse questions that he was asking, I call this the single biggest abuse of power corruption scandal in American history. Let's stay on what you were just talking about. Was Peter Strzok and others, were they abusing their power in an attempt to impact an American election in a way that they saw fit to help one candidate and hurt another candidate? And what does that mean if that can happen in the United States of America, Congressman?
Well, a politicization of law enforcement is the end of us. If we begin to view that blindfolded lady holding a set of scales as really having an R or a D on her breastplate, if that's where we are, then we're finished as a republic. I am proud to be on the House Intel Committee, and we've done some really important work on the FISA abuse. It's been a long slog, and we hadn't had a lot of help at times, but Devin has made really good progress on uncovering what went into that FISA application. So I don't know. I know this. I know that there were lots of things that should have been in that application that was presented to the judge that were not. And I know that they decided not to charge her before they interviewed 30 fact witnesses. So if that is not a dichotomy, that we're going to withhold exculpatory information in this case, and we're going to withhold any prospect of prosecution in that case, I don't know how anyone cannot be left with the conclusion that if your name is Clinton, you're going to be treated differently than if your name is Jones or Smith.
What you're saying, Congressman, is really scary to me and should frighten every American. I want to ask you one last question. What now? I mean, Hillary Clinton had a rigged investigation. I think the evidence is overwhelming and incontrovertible for obstruction and for the Espionage Act and a number of statutes we laid out here. What happens to her, and what happens to the people that were involved in the exoneration before the investigation to impact a presidential election? Never mind lying to 4 FISA judges to get warrants to spy on Americans and opposition party candidate representatives.
Well, Sean, this is where I get myself in a little bit of trouble, because all of the principal decision makers now were put in place by President Trump. Jeff Sessions, Rod Rosenstein, Chris Wray. It's no longer Loretta Lynch and Eric Holder and Jim Comey. I mean, it's our folks. So if they have uncovered systemic abuse or any potential criminality, they have an obligation to prosecute it. My fear is when you have the head of the FBI stand up in front of the entire world and exonerate her the way Jim Comey did, I don't know a prosecutor in the world that is good enough to win that case. So our opportunity to find out whether or not she violated the Espionage Act, I think Jim Comey ruined that. They ruined it by not interviewing her seriously, and then they ruined it by that unprecedented press conference. So we'll never know the answer to your question.
All right, Congressman, profound words. I hope the American people are paying very close attention. I think you did a great job today. We have a lot of ground to cover.
One of the Republican lawmakers there, Louis Gohmert, and things boiled over with him during the hearing. He blasted Strzok for the impact he had on public trust in the FBI and his personal behavior.
The disgrace, what this man has done.
The gentleman from Texas will suspend for a moment.
There is the disgrace. And it won't be recaptured anytime soon because of the damage you've done to the justice system. And I've talked to FBI agents around the country. You've embarrassed them. You've embarrassed yourself. And I can't help but wonder when I see you looking there with a little smirk, how many times did you look so innocent into your wife's eye and lie to her about Lisa?
Mr. Chairman, this is outrageous.
The credibility of a witness is always an issue.
Mr. Chairman, please.
Mr. Chairman, this is intolerable harassment of the witness.
What's wrong with that? You need your medication.
It was a free-for-all, and you heard that comment, and do you need your medication? Congressman Louis Gohmert, did you lose your temper, or did you intend to bring up his personal life decisions?
No, I didn't go into it intending to do that, but as I sat there listening to him so smugly, his little smirk, and he had lied repeatedly, and he knew he was lying, I knew he was lying, and yet he still would lie. And I'm telling you, the unfortunate thing is about that last exchange I had with him, it may have clouded over a very, very important story, and that is that he was told by the intelligence community Inspector General's investigator, Frank Rucker, that they had found an anomaly in the emails going to and from Hillary Clinton's unauthorized private server, and it was when they forensically examined the anomaly, they found embedded information, and it was a foreign entity, not Russia, but a foreign entity that was getting every single one of her over 30,000 emails.
So wait, Congressman, just to stop you there. Just to stop there.
Russia.
So you're saying that in Hillary Clinton's emails, they were forwarded to somebody else?
Yes, and it was because they were hacked. And Horowitz didn't point that out, you know. The previous story, you know, that Comey gave us, well, it was not a good server. It was possible that it got hacked, but there was no evidence it was hacked. And then we find out, and that's what I brought out today, that the intelligence community IG brought it to their attention, and they did nothing. Nothing. And this is a foreign entity not related to Russia in the least that is getting everyone. There were only 4 of over 30,000 emails they didn't get. They were going to and from. She compromised America's security.
Congressman, one of the many people who questioned Peter Strzok today and will probably question Lisa Page tomorrow at about 1:30 Eastern time. Congressman, thanks so much.
Thanks, Brian.
Well, there were major fireworks today as the infamous FBI agent Peter Strzok went at it with Trey Gowdy and other members of the House Oversight and Judiciary Committees in a grilling that is still going on tonight at this hour, at times saying that they would hold him in contempt for not talking about the choices he made and the things he said and texted about Hillary Clinton and President Trump during the 2016 election while he was leading the investigations into those campaigns. Even the extramarital affair that he had with an FBI agent was on the table for discussion today. Watch some of this.
The "will stop it," you were speaking on behalf of the American people. Is that correct?
I don't recall writing that text.
Are you denying writing the text?
What I can tell you is that text in no way suggested that I or the FBI would take any action to influence the candidacy of
Agent Strzok. That is a fantastic answer to a question nobody asked.
Yeah. If you want to represent what you said accurately, I'm happy to answer that question, but I don't appreciate what was originally said being changed.
I don't give a damn what you appreciate, Agent Strzok. I don't appreciate having an FBI agent with an unprecedented level of animus working on 2 major investigations during 2016.
I've talked to FBI agents around the country. You've embarrassed them. You've embarrassed yourself. And I can't help but wonder when I see you looking there with a little smirk, how many times did you look so innocent into your wife's eye and lie to her about Lisa?
Mr. Chairman, this is outrageous.
The credibility of a witness is always an issue.
Wow. Here now, Congressman John Ratcliffe, who is on that committee and was one of the people questioning Mr. Strzok today. Congressman, it's good to see you this evening. Thank you very much for being here.
You bet. Hi, Martha.
What did you learn today?
Well, I think Peter Strzok came in with two goals today. One was to prove to the American people that he wasn't biased against Donald Trump. And the second point that he tried to assert was that he never let his personal beliefs cross over into official FBI action. And I thought he failed miserably on both counts. When you have all of these text messages about effing Trump, stopping Trump, impeaching Trump, when you prejudge Donald Trump's guilt as the lead investigator before you interview a single witness, that's textbook bias. And as far as his personal beliefs not crossing over to official action, I was able to walk him off the plank with his own words there. Listen, when you send 50,000 text messages on an official FBI phone, on official FBI time, about your personal beliefs and the actions you're going to take to stop Donald Trump, he lost all kinds of credibility today.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, you're on work time, and it is work product if it is done on work computers. That's a lesson that we've all learned since 2016 and watching all of this. Here is the moment when he was asked specifically about the text message that he wrote that said, "Don't worry, we will stop him," with regard to President Trump running for president. Watch this.
In terms of the text that we will stop it, you need to understand that that was written late at night, off the cuff, and it was in response to a series of events that included then-candidate Trump insulting the immigrant family of a fallen war hero. And my presumption, based on that horrible, disgusting behavior, that the American population would not elect somebody demonstrating that behavior to be president of the United States.
I mean, you learn a lot about him from his responses here, I think. And, you know,
well, Martha,
in terms of that explanation and how heated he became, I'm sorry for the delay here, what did you make of that exchange, sir?
Well, he tried to relate that a lot of people felt that way, and he might be right, but a lot of people weren't the lead investigator in the Trump-Russia investigation. 7 days before that text message, he started the Trump-Russia investigation, and before he interviewed a single witness, that's what he expressed as the lead investigator, that he was going to stop Donald Trump from becoming president. And then he followed it up a few days after that with another text message where he said, "We can't take the risk of a Trump presidency and need an insurance policy." So, you know, he was uniquely in a position to act on the promise that he made to Lisa Page that he was going to stop Donald Trump from being president. And I think the evidence showed that he tried to do that.
So the Democrats on the committee were not happy with the Republican line of questioning. Here's Steve Cohen, the Democrat from Tennessee. Watch.
Mr. Trump, I don't know where to start. If I could give you a Purple Heart, I would. You deserve one.
Wow.
What do you make of that, sir?
What I make of that is we're talking about an FBI agent that they said should get a Purple Heart. They called him a hero. They called him a patriot. I think it just shows how much they hate Donald Trump. This is a guy who's been demoted by the FBI, who's been criticized by the FBI director, by the inspector general, demoted to the human resources, and is under investigation for an ethics review. It just, you know, the Democrats continue to line up with anyone besides Donald Trump. They took Putin's side over Trump. They have taken everyone's side over Donald Trump. And, you know, I think Donald Trump could cure cancer, and they'd come back tomorrow and say, look, he put doctors and nurses out of business.
Thank you very much, Congressman Ratcliffe. Always good to see you, sir. Thanks for being here this
You bet.
evening.